Oh, what a price to pay for meddling with a 10. A piece of me burned away last time we were here. Welcome back, my friends. Welcome back, my pets. We are now on the newest chapter with Darren. As you can probably tell, last time a piece of me was lost. I injured my hand helping, just so Darren might stumble upon what he needs to survive. Do you see it, my pets? The piece of me that I might have left behind? It's like a seed waiting to take root. He doesn't yet know what it holds. Nor do we all. But I do. This story will refuse to die. I will not allow it. It's too delicious. He won't die either, though. No, I won't allow that. Not yet, at least. Sit close, darlings. Sit very close. The night grows darker. The storm grows nearer. And my little pawn, my rare find, is about to take the next trembling step. Oh, I will feast upon the fear. So sit back and enjoy.
I used to think the scariest part of the end of the world would be all the screaming, the chaos. Turns out it's not. It's the quiet after everything has ended. 1 hour after Nate's place came down into the plane wreck and dust found my teeth, the city finally shut up. And then the shadows started playing. We're pegging through the ribs of a house that used to sit proud in the suburbs. The passenger jet had screamed too low when the city lost its lights. Now its silver belly is wrapped across the cul-de-sac. Nate's place is under it somewhere. Timbers cracked, walls folded like wet paper. We crossed broken siding, crunched furniture, insulation floating in the air like dandruff. Amy leads, careful in every step. Rachel counts water bottles from toppled shelves. Lena hovers near me because my hands are still bandaged and she's helping. The desk I saw topple earlier has split in half. Inside its splinters was a glove. Black, skin tight, scorched at the cuffs, as if it had licked a star. When I touched it, it was cold, but not wet from the rain or the water. Not leather feeling, more like a velvet that does not belong. Shadows seem to wisp off of it, like smoke curling off of smoldering wood. My mind hums this strange tingle through me as I look and touch this random piece of clothing. Then I notice Amy looking at me, giving me a strange, curious glance. So I shove the glove back in my pack quickly and move on. There'll be time later to investigate. The Nolan's house sagged, walls bent in awkward angles, in certain places. Some still stood, even though everything said they shouldn't. It was a catastrophe. But its basement, that was a miracle of itself. Pegboard walls, shelves lined with canned beans and buckets sealed in plastic, peanut butters, some kind of cracker that looks like it never aged. I met them only a handful of times before the world was destroyed. Back when I used to come to Nate's. Their house is a few blocks down from his. They were a nice family. The dad, I think, was a professor of some kind at the university. The mom, some kind of gardener. Although you wouldn't be able to tell anymore based on their backyard. The garden completely destroyed. The daughter, I think a few years older than me, had gone off to some other city or something to do something. I'm not 100%. You could tell, though, none of the family members made it down to this basement before everything fell apart. Meaning the Mullins were no more. The girls, in their best effort, tried to make a feast out of the new rations we had just gotten from this wonderful basement. Peanut butter on crackers as a centerpiece, canned beans split 4 ways on paper plates, a few Vienna sausage cans popped open. Hey, at the end of the world, those little things are delicious. Say what you want, but anyways, they really did try to make me feel better. They could tell I was down by seeing how sad I was and how shocked I was seeing Nate's place destroyed. The one thing on my mind was hoping he had made it out and made it to his bunker with his dad. They were like the last bit of family I may or may not have in this world. My mind raced back to the message in my pocket from my mother on a little device that no longer mattered in this world. Cell service had died way a long time ago. Calling Nate would have been pointless. But the girls did try to make me happier. Things would have been fine. However, the moment I packed at the table, things seemed to take a turn. Normally, the candles and lamplights flickered outwardly when wind was blowing against them. However, the second my pack hit the table, all the candles in the room, flames, all seemed to bend inward towards my pack, as well as the shadows. They all seemed to flicker. I glanced around, not noticing anything, before sitting back down. The girls giving my pack a wary look. And then I heard a gasp come from me. They all glanced over at her when she pointed. Glancing over at the wall, the candles were casting shadows. There was my shadow, then it just sat down. Lena's shadow, pointing. Amy and Rachel's were fainter, but they were behind us. And then there was another, a fifth shadow, standing in the middle of us all, with a top hat. There was a man, standing 6 to 7 feet tall. Shadow, very intimidating. Presence just seemed to wash over us all. I glanced between where the shadow was and where the person who should be making it should be, and realized the shadow was standing about where my pack was sitting. Shoving my pack to the floor, the shadow dispersed, and we all looked at each other. No one said a thing about it, but I could tell we were all scared. Later that night, I was on watch, letting the girls rest. I couldn't get my mind off of it. I pulled the glove out of my pack, curious as to how it was having these anomalous properties. Nothing like this should exist. It's plainly obvious to anyone that looks at this glove that something is up about it. It absorbs the candlelight as soon as I pull it out. Looking over, I can see a lantern. The flame seems to flick and pull towards it, as if being sucked into a black hole. Curious, I slipped it onto my hand. My arm blurred, seemed to fade, shadows bleeding upward from it. The air froze. Literally. You could see the particles of dust in the air stop moving as my breath caught and puffs of cloud came with it. The light inverted, becoming a negative in the room. My body was wisps of negative space. I hovered inches off the ground. Alina's gasp caught me. I looked down to see her staring in horror before being able to finally rip the glove completely off my hand, collapsing to the ground. Her whisper shook. Your eyes. They were glowing blue. You weren't you. Your body was cloaked in shadow. Before either of us could discuss what had just happened, Amy came around the corner to ask too, and that's when we all heard it. The trip bell I had laid out to alert us when someone entered the house above started ringing, lightly. We all glanced up at it, and then we heard it. Something scraped along beams, a sound like bone being dragged across concrete. We could hear very faint chitters and coos. A sound so notorious it sent chills down all of our spines. The nester was here. We must protect ourselves. In a panic, rushed for time and begging for it to not find us. We threw the bookcases that were down there across the door. Amy pressed beside me against the wall. We just sat quietly for a few minutes, listening. The scraping came and went for a while, before ebbing away ever so slowly, till it was just mostly faint scratching sounds in the distance. When I muttered about the glove's oddness, just to get my mind off of it, off of the impending doom, Amy hissed, Darren, it feels demonic. Wrong. It notices us before we notice it. I brushed off her little comments. A sarcastic laugh threaded faintly through the pipes, and I glanced over in confusion. There's no way a glove can inflict any pain or problems. It's just a glove with some strange properties. You're overreacting. And with that, she huffed off and walked away. The room around me, based on my own skills of discernment, seemed to be that of an ancient throne room. Drapes, purple in color, hung like nightfall around it. A crowd of monster-like creatures ebbed and flowed, all parted around me in a semicircle. None of them looked at me. Not directly. Glancing around, I could see, in this crowd, 10 figures stood out. Because of all the creatures here, those 10 figures seemed to glitch. They seemed to be incorporeal, made of static, as if TVs were set to a bad channel with no signal. They flickered in and out of existence here and there. A man, tall as ever, lounged sideways in a throne, sitting above the rest of us, reading what looked like a tome of some kind. Smoke feeding into the throne he sat on and into his mouth from the book. He wore a top hat. His eyes seemed to flicker and glow with red light. His mouth seemed to be that of a large grin, never ending. The clothes he wore seemed to be constantly flickering, as if they weren't sure if they should exist or not. I could see a red button down under a black vest. The red of the button down seemed to be that of the color of blood, while the black vest seemed to be a void of color in its entirety. Just the void itself. His pants were the same. On one hand, I could see where the sleeve of the shirt had ended was a glove, black as night, and very similar to the one I had in my backpack. On the other hand, the sleeve seemed to be faded, torn, disintegrated in bits and pieces here and there. The glove was missing from that hand. And underneath was something I could not really describe. His arm and hands seemed to be made of nothing but shadow. But every flicker and movement, you could occasionally see void-like flesh and bone stick through. But these bones didn't seem like human bones. Where human bones are made of, well, bone and are typically white. These, I don't know what they were made of, but they were darkness itself. Turning out of fear, I went to step back, and suddenly, he was standing in my face before I had even a chance to blink. It was as if he just appeared there. He laid a shadowy hand on my shoulder.
Hello, Darren. You wear me well. Don't worry. Your story, I won't consume it entirely. Wake up, pet. Something's reaching for you.
Waking up, I glanced around in confusion, and then I saw it. The wall fracture. A spindly, spider-like leg that was wrong in every way eased through the crack in the wall, tasting the air towards me. It was only a few inches away from my face now. On instinct, I grabbed the bat and swung, not realizing my hand was already cloaked in the glove. The leg detonated against the wall. Silence. Then a shriek so sharp it shredded the dust. Rachel yanked me by my shirt as the basement collapsed. We managed to gather all of our belongings quickly. Luckily, most of our stuff had been put back in our packs. But we did lose quite a bit of rations. Dawn could be seen breaking over the ridge in the skyline. We ran towards the bridge that led away from the neighborhood. The nester, limping after us, was on the hunt. It was hungry. It wanted our flesh. It wanted mine. I pulled a grenade from the mini that I had stolen from that poor dead military man in the building. Giving it a lob after pulling the pin, I teed up with the bat and smacked it at the nester. It went flying, scorching like a rocket. The explosion scorched the creature. The grenade went off before it actually hit it, so it blew up in its face, sending flame and shrapnel at it. But, unfortunately, rage made it faster, so it was almost upon us. Halfway across the bridge, I yanked another pin. Dropping it on the center, I looked over at the girls and they all glanced at me. None of us said anything, but they knew. I said one word. Run! We took off running, and I counted to 5. That is my last footfall hit a few feet from the edge of the bridge. A concussive blast knocked me forwards so hard it sent me sprawling, flying the rest of the way off the bridge. Looking back, after regaining my composure and getting off the ground from the faceplant I made, I saw the nester on the other side. It seemed to glare at us from the opposite side. The ravine the bridge had been over is rather large, and in order for it to get across, it would definitely need to spin its web, or learn how to fly, which, with how quickly these things seem to learn how to adapt, doesn't seem all that unlikely. But nevertheless, it wouldn't take it long to get across. We definitely would need to get moving quickly. Staring at it for a bit, I turned away. Finally. That's when I noticed Amy. She looked terrified. She then whispered, "It's doing something strange," she said. I looked back in confusion. What do you mean? After the explosion, when you flew across and faceplant, I turned back. It's picking up the cocoons, the things it makes. It's eating them. Look, you can see him doing it. Look at his face. I took a harder look back at the creature again. Black, ichor-like blood poured from its jaws. I could see its body trembling as it chewed through whatever it was eating. It was clearly one of those cocoons. That wasn't normal. Based on everything that these women had said about it, it didn't eat those. Those were like its offspring. I'm not sure what those are supposed to turn into, as we haven't had the luck of seeing one yet, thank goodness. But I can only assume that they probably turn into the same thing. Granted, that was still just a guess. But still, it wasn't supposed to eat those. Rachel stepped forward. "It's dying," she said. Amy shook her head, though, her face pale with shock. "No. Nesters protect cocoons. They don't eat them. This isn't normal." The city groaned a new note. Through binoculars, we saw a screeching, horrible sound roared through the city. We could see a black shape sprinting down a skyscraper wall like gravity wasn't even a thing. Its howl drowned out the wind. We moved, because prey always does, and that creature was coming towards us.
There you have it. Darren clings tighter, the glove whispers louder, and the storm above hungers to swallow them all. That nester was something, wasn't it? Yes. Oh, he wanted a piece of Darren too. He's quite delicious. Oh, but isn't that what makes this world beautiful? The chaos of it all. You can't find beauty without chaos, now can you? Oh, and our little chit chat. Me and Darren. Oh, it's like it was destiny. Meant to be. However, my throne is sated, fed, and deliciously tempted. Darren, oh, he feeds us well. But do you think you'll carry it a weight? Oh, my dears. Or will he break beneath it? Either way, I'll be here, savoring every crack in his soul. How delicious. Until next time, my pets, please join us again. Oh, and one more thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe.